stop wasting your life. Seriously, welcome to an explainer that isn't just going to slightly challenge how you view your daily routine, but could legitimately shatter your entire reality. Today we're unpacking a source that is incredibly mysterious, intensely dark, and honestly, life-altering. So I need you to focus. Put away your phone, close your other tabs, because your invisible clock is ticking right now. What we're about to uncover is the exact architecture of the trap you're likely living in at this very second.
Okay, let's jump right into this with a pretty terrifying thought experiment. Think about your bank account balance right now. Got it? Now, imagine that number isn't dollars or euros or whatever currency you use. Imagine that number is the exact amount of time you have left to live, physically ticking down on your forearm. Every single coffee you buy, every hour you waste mindlessly scrolling, literally drains your lifespan. And the second that balance hits zero, boom, immediate, sudden death. It's a chilling thought, right?
To really wrap our heads around this, the source takes us into this deeply dystopian allegory set in the year 2169. So, in this future, humanity has basically hacked the system. They've used genetic engineering to completely stop the aging process at 25 years old. Everyone stays forever young. Sounds great, right? Well, nature demands a price. The catch is, once you hit 25, your biological clock starts, and you are only given 52 weeks. Just one single year left to live. If you want to survive beyond that, you literally have to earn your life.
Section 1. The world of 2169, where time is currency.
In this reality, traditional money doesn't even exist anymore. Time is the absolute only currency. You're not working for a paycheck, you are working for hours and days added straight to your lifespan. To buy a meal, you pay with minutes of your own life. And, as you might guess, this creates a horrific, fractured society. On one side, you have the ghetto, the working class. People here wake up with maybe, 23 hours on their clock. They're locked in this constant, panicked hustle just to earn enough time to wake up tomorrow. But on the exact opposite side, you have New Greenwich. This is where the ultra-wealthy elites live in this slow-motion, absolute luxury. They hoard thousands, sometimes millions of years in their time banks. They are, for all intents and purposes, immortal.
Section 2. The system's cruel design and engineered scarcity.
This engineered scarcity is perfectly captured by a guy named Will and the absolutely tragic story of his mother, Rachel. Rachel worked tirelessly just to survive day to day. But here's the kicker. The elites in New Greenwich control the cost of living, and they use inflation as a literal weapon. So, without any warning, a simple bus fare to get home randomly doubles. It goes from costing 1 hour of life to 2 hours. Rachel doesn't have it. She's forced to run home as her clock aggressively ticks down. Will realizes what's happening and sprints toward her to transfer his time, but they miss each other by a single second. Her time hits zero, and she dies right there in his arms. And it wasn't an accident. She died because of engineered inflation.
This profound, sickening injustice brings us to a character named Hamilton. He's a 105-year-old elite from New Greenwich who has just grown completely sick of this twisted game. He wanders into the ghetto with over a century on his arm. After Will saves him from some local time thieves, Hamilton drops a massive bombshell. He confesses that the immortality of the rich is directly paid for by the forced labor and the premature deaths of the poor. Completely disgusted by a system that steals life energy, Hamilton does the unthinkable. He transfers his remaining 116 years to Will and then peacefully ends his own life in protest.
Section 3. The Real-Life Matrix. The 9-to-5 Illusion.
Okay, up until now, we've been looking at a sci-fi allegory, but the curtain drops right here. Because this isn't fiction. The source makes a terrifying argument. You are a slave born into a prison you cannot see or touch. Think about it. 90% of the population spends their entire existence trading their most vital, completely non-renewable resource, their actual life energy, their youth, their time, just to survive. You commute to work to earn colored paper just to buy the right to live another month under a roof. Meanwhile, a tiny fraction of society hoards wealth that multiplies effortlessly, while everyone else is fed this illusion that if they just work hard enough, they'll be free too. It is a completely rigged game.
Listen closely. We are pulling back the veil on systems specifically designed to drain you. If you are genuinely ready to see the world for what it actually is and escape this matrix, you need to subscribe to Shadow Files right now. Seriously, do not let this opportunity pass you by. Arm yourself with the truth.
Section 4. The glitch in the system and unveiling the trap.
You know, the reason you haven't broken out yet is entirely by design. The daily grind keeps you way too exhausted to even notice the trap. You commute, you pay endless bills, and when you finally get a free second, what do? You just want to numb yourself. You scroll, you binge TV, you consume. You never have the raw energy to step back and realize what is actually happening. Let's ground this in some cold, hard numbers. 25,000 days. That is roughly the total average human lifespan. That's the whole shebang. It sounds like a lot until you realize it's a rapidly depleting, totally non-renewable resource. Every single day you wake up, your invisible biological clock just subtracted a day.
And here is the ultimate heavy reality check. If you are a young adult right now, let's say in your mid-20s, you don't have 25,000 days left. You have roughly 15,000 days remaining before your clock hits absolute zero. Just pause and think about that. You've already spent thousands of those days, many of them sitting in a classroom or a cubicle, preparing to trade even more of your days to a system that barely gives you enough to survive. Every second you spend doing something you hate is a literal piece of your actual life that you are throwing away.
But here's the good news. Every system, no matter how oppressive or controlling, has a glitch. The creator of our source material discovered this firsthand. They were enrolled in a top medical college, literally the dream of millions. But after just 6 months, they saw the matrix for what it was. They walked away from over $3,400 in sunk fees. They had zero income, no backup plan, and just 18 subscribers on YouTube at the time. But they flat out refused to keep playing a rigged game. They stepped entirely out of the illusion to reclaim their time.
Section 5. Escaping the time trap by fighting the illusion.
So the big question is, how do you rebel? Well, it starts by looking at how people normally try to escape. A lot of people choose the path of the monk. They try to run away, ignore money, and completely detach from modern society. But the source argues this is a false escape. Just closing your eyes doesn't make the prison disappear. It literally just makes you blind to the bars. True freedom, drawing on ancient Vedanta philosophy, is the awakened path. It's understanding the Maya, the illusion of the system. You don't run from it. You understand exactly how it works so you can master it and beat it from the inside out.
And this philosophical awakening perfectly mirrors Will's ultimate rebellion in our story. Armed with the time Hamilton gave him, Will doesn't just try to survive quietly. He infiltrates New Greenwich. He attacks the system at its very core. Alongside Sylvia, who is actually a corrupt time banker's daughter who finally wakes up to the cruelty of her own privilege, Will steals a massive 1 million-year time capsule. But instead of keeping it for themselves, they distribute it across the ghetto. They completely destroy the artificial scarcity, effectively making the working class immortal and collapsing the elite's power structure overnight. They stopped playing by the system's rules and simply rewrote them.
Which brings us to the ultimate, unavoidable question you have to ask yourself right now. Are you going to continue to live in the lie? Will you blindly trade your remaining days just to keep the matrix running, eventually passing this exact same rigged game down to your children? Or are you going to be the one to wake up? Will you be the one to understand the illusion, reclaim your life force, and free your future generations from this invisible prison?
Because your invisible clock is ticking down right this very second. The days are slipping through your fingers, and time is literally running out. If you are finally ready to stop wasting your life and step completely outside this illusion, hit subscribe on Shadow Files right now. Understand the glitch, master the system, and escape the matrix before your balance hits zero.